as you all know, this is going to be the final class for Season 8. We'll be finishing 8 years of these classes. We'll start the Season 9 probably end of August or September. And also this is going to be the last class for Chapter 3. And we'll discuss the final shloka today. And so one announcement for summer. And so we are planning to have a lecture of, I don't know how many of you know Rajiv Malhotra. Any of you know Rajiv Malhotra? You know Rajiv Malhotra, right? So he's a prominent Indian American, and he's been doing a lot of lectures and bringing awareness through his articles and all these writings on Western scholarship of Hinduism and the politics involved and all of those things from a long time. And I've been reading his articles from way back. There used to be a website called Sulekha.com, and he used to write on Sulekha, and that's how I came to know about Wendy Doniger and her writings and all of stuff. So I don't know if that's finalized, that October 11th. Actually, Tejal is the one. She knows Rajiv personally, and she's helping to coordinate all that. So October 11th is confirmed. So he'll be here for lecture in October. On October 11th is the lecture, and I think we are planning to have multiple sessions with kids, as in high school kids, with adults, and probably many other programs. And there's also a program planned to in Houston. So it's going to be two-day event. And so what Tejal thought, and we all think it's the right thing to do, is instead of just having him, we always listen to a good lecture and that's it. It's all over, right? So what we wanted to do was create the awareness, like necessary preparation for that. So for summer, we have this open mind forum. Many of you know about the open mind forum. We started 3-4 years ago, and it stopped over the last year. But we want to start it in summer. We meet every other Sunday, and we discuss. It's an open format. We discuss. We have, it's like we have some panelists. We have a psychologist. I will be speaking for Hindu traditions, and then we'll have a Buddhist monk. Who'll be there. That used to be the format. And we'll take topics, not philosophical, but relevant to every day, and then we discuss it. Panelists speak on the topic for 5 to 10 minutes, and then it's an open forum. Everybody pitches in and all that. So we're going to use that format, and we'll be discussing Rajiv Malhotra's books. He's written many books. Invading the Sacred is about how American scholarship of Hinduism is caricaturing the Hinduism and all this. So we'll be looking at that book. Breaking India is how the money from U.S. and West going to NGOs in India and how they're using it, what kind of structures they're creating and how they're influencing conversion and all of those things. So how they use the money. So that's Breaking India and the vision that the West and Middle East have about India's future and how they want to break it up and all. That's another book. What's the new book? Being Different is how to talk about Hinduism and Hindu Dharma to a Western audience. How do we bring the difference? Because we say everybody is the same, all religions are the same. That's not true, right? So how to bring in this difference without for that difference creating animosity. Difference is natural. That's what Hindu culture is, right? So all these 3 or 4 books that he's written, we're going to bring that, and there's going to be a discussion on those topics of those books. So it's going to be very interesting. I'll be gone in May. I'll be on vacation, but we can start in May and then continue in June and July and have all of us prepared for the lecture, better prepared for the lecture in October. So that's the idea for summer. Okay. So coming back to the 3rd chapter now. So we were in Shloka 43, which is the final Shloka of the 3rd chapter of Karma Yoga. So in this section, Krishna is talking about desires, right? Kama, and we've seen various forms of kama, desires. How there is a sattvic kama and there is rajasic and tamasic kama, and that which really needs control and is Rajasic and Tamasic karma. Good karmas, we need good karmas. It needs to be cultivated. Bad karmas need to be controlled, right? And so that, and we also saw in the earlier discussion that desire can neither be encouraged. You cannot put out the fire by throwing stuff in it, right? So that's Krishna calls it what? What's the name Krishna gives for desire? He says analam, right? Anala means what? Fire, right? Anala is fire. And literally anala means that which has no satisfaction. Na alam means that which has no satisfaction. So you cannot put out fire by putting things into it. So you cannot control desire by indulgence, nor can you control desire by suppression. You cannot do both. You suppress it, it becomes stronger. You indulge it, it becomes stronger. So what do? Right? And you outgrow it. Just like in kids, when they grow, they no longer need the toys, right? But they have a different set of desires. You go from one set to another set. But you outgrow one set of things and get interested in another set, right? So you're not suppressing, you're not indulging, but you're normally and naturally outgrowing those desires, right? So that is the path that Krishna is talking about. That karma can neither be indulged nor can it be suppressed. It needs to be outgrown. And what kind of karma needs to be outgrown? Rajasic and Tamasic karmas, right? Rajasic karmas and Tamasic karmas are the ones that need to be outgrown. And that's what he's been talking about. He talks about how karma enters the system. How does it enter the system? Yeah, through the indriyas, right? It comes through the sensory organs. That is the weakest point of karma, right? Desire enters through the sense organs, and that's the weakest. But as you indulge the senses with the desire, it reaches where next? What is the next stage? Manas, right? It reaches manas. That means the manas is now thinking about the object of desire a lot, and therefore the senses want to go towards desire. And then when it grows even stronger, what happens? It goes and affects buddhi. That means your judgment is now gone, right? Buddhi nasha pranashati. That means once your faculty of judgment is affected by desire, you no longer have any power over yourselves. Right? So that's how he says it's weakest when it comes in the senses, it grows stronger in the manas, and then it's the strongest in buddhi. Once your judgment is affected by desires, you're always biased towards it. I can do it, so what? It's fine. Right? What does that mean when you say it's fine? That means your judgment is affected by the desire. The desire is so strong that your buddhi is not a match. Your buddhi says, oh, I go where desire goes. Right? So that means buddhi is nasha. It's been destroyed by desire. Right? So desire grows these three stages. And Krishna talks about desire in three forms. When it is like a smoke enveloping the fire, that is when it's in its lowest power, right? And then the next stage is when the mirror is covered with dust, it no longer reflects. We can no longer think, correctly. And that's the second stage. And the final stage is like a fetus is enveloped by the womb, right? It's completely restraining. It just imprisons us. So that's the third stage of desire. So three stages of desire. So desire, when it is at the stage of indriyas, is at the stage of smoke. And he says, Indriyani adau niyamya bhartarshaba papmanam prajahi jnana vijnana nashanam. Right? So adi, that means at the initial stage itself, you have to stop the desires, the rajasic and tamasic desires, the tamasic desires at the stage of indriya. Stop it there. Do not let it get into the system, because as it gets into manas, it's very hard. When it gets to buddhi, it is next to impossible to control it. Right? Then he says, now the question is, he has transformed desire into the enemy. Right? The real enemy is the desire within us. It's not somebody out there. How do you control the enemy? You need to know how it operates, where it is, and all of this. Where it is already talked about, right? The indriyas, manas, buddhi. It is in these three places. How do you control it? So he says in 42, he says, Indriyani parani ahu, indriyebhya param manaha, Manasastu para buddhihi yo buddhehe parastastu saha. And I was saying this is a very short version of a longer version in Kathopanishad, right? And so the longer version is what was the thing that I was writing? That's a very important diagram that I was writing last time. I'll write it again because that when we study about Pancha Koshas, we'll study that. When we study Taittiriya Upanishad, we'll study that. When we study later on the inverted Ashwatha tree, right? That we study this. So this comes in a lot of places. Right? So first, I said the first one was at the lowest level is what? Panchabhutas. That's 5 in number, right? And these Panchabhutas itself, you can divide into what? You can divide into, I'll write English names here. Prithvi, earth, water, jala, and Agni. These 3. That means that is at the lowest level of structure. You can call that the structure, physical structure of things in the world. Always needs these 3. Right? To cook, what do you need? Agni, water, and rice or whatever you cook. So that's the Prithvi, Jala, and this thing, Agni. Plants, what does plant need? You need to put the seed on the earth. That's your Prithvi Tattva. You need to water it. That is Jala Tattva. You need sun, which is what? Agni Tattva. You need these 3 always for everything in the physical world. And this is called as what? What kosha this is? This is called Annamaya kosha. Annamaya, this is the physical sheath. It's called Annamaya, that which is formed by food, which is the body, right? That's the structure of things. You need, for everything in the world, you need these 3 elements. You need earth, you need water, and you need Agni. These 3 is always required. Any 2 will not do. You need all the 3. To make a pot, what do you need? You need clay. You need to put water to make a shape, and then you need what? You need the fire. Right? So all the 3 is required. So this is the structure part of, this is the Annamaya Kosha. This is structure, right? Then on top of it comes what? Akasha and Vayu. Right? So this is function. Without Vayu there is no motion. There is no activity. So in the body, Vayu is what? Things moving is because of Vayu. Right? So Vayu, the higher form of Vayu is called Prana. Right? Prana. So Prana, the lower form of Prana is Vayu. So Vayu and Akasha is nothing but creating space. Movement and space is what? This is structure, this is function. Right? And this is what, which kosha is this? Pranamaya kosha, right? This is Pranamaya kosha. So that's Panchabhuta. Then on top of Panchabhuta sits what? Indriyas, right? How many Indriyas are there? 10 Indriyas, right? So 5 Jnana Indriyas, 5 sense organs and 5 organs of action corresponding to each of the bhutas. Right? So 10. And all of these 10 are also part of Pranamaya Kosha. So Pranamaya Kosha is both these 10 Indriyas and Vayu and Akasha. All these form the functional aspect of our physical self. This is the structure, which is Annamaya Kosha. Function is Pranamaya Kosha. Our Indriyas and Vayu and Akasha tattvas, these form Pranamaya Kosha. That's the prana that we have. That's being alive. Okay? So that's, see, when you are dead, which kosha will be remaining? Only Annamaya Kosha. Pranamaya, everything is gone. Everything above Annamaya Kosha is gone. Does a physical world have Pranamaya Kosha? Stone, does it have Pranamaya Kosha? Manomaya Kosha? Annamaya Kosha? Yes. Everything has Annamaya Kosha. I gave an example of pot, right? So, everything has Annamaya Kosha. Everything in the world has Annamaya Kosha. That means it has earth, water and fire. I mean, these are not real. This is not fire. That's a fire tattva. The fire has lot of fire tattva. This is at the tattva stage. This water is not the water that we drink. The water that we drink has this water tattva, jala tattva in it. Right? So this is at the more subtle level than the physical manifestation of those things. So this is the physical structure, this is the functioning. So on top, the indriyabhya, what? Parahi arthaha. I said, this is pancha tanmatras. What are the pancha tanmatras? Correct, right? So pancha tanmatras are those that expose, the panchabhutas that expose themselves to indriyas, the objects of senses. That is shabda, sparsha, right? Rupa, rasa, gandha. 5. That is what we can sense, right? Those 5 properties of panchabhutas, they sit on top of indriyas. That means indriyas seek out the objects of senses, and therefore the objects of senses are greater in power than indriyas. Right? So this is higher. This is greater than tanmatra is what? Manas, right? So manas. So this is one. So this is called manomaya kosha. This is one kosha. This is annamaya kosha. Prana. Tanmatra doesn't come. Tanmatra is outside, so an object, so it doesn't come. Indriyas and akasha and vayu form pranamaya kosha. Manas forms manomaya kosha. This is where thinking happens. You start thinking. That is manas, right? It's an instrument. It's a tool of what? Sankalpa, vikalpa, and ekagrata. It's a focus, planning, and thinking. Basically, reflection. That means indriyas, and in Kathopanishad, Atmanam Rathinam Viddhi, Shariram Ratamevatu. That means he is given an example of a chariot. If the body is the chariot, the senses are the 10 horses that are yoked to the chariot. This is the 10 horses. The reins that hold the horses is manas. Maha pragrahamevacha. Pragraha is the reins. Right? This is the reins. That means for the horses to go around, the reins have to control it. Right? So wherever the manas goes, the indriyas go. Wherever the manas go, the indriyas go. Is that true? Only when kama is at the level of indriya. Otherwise, wherever indriyas go, the manas goes. See, in Kathopanishad, when Yama is explaining this to Nachiketa, he says, when they are good horses, they listen to the charioteer. When they are wild horses, what happens? Wherever horses take, the chariot goes. Right? So when the reins are in total control of the horses do the bidding of the charioteer. When the horses get wild, they do their own thing. The charioteer has no control. He goes where the horses go. Right? So manas is yoked to indriyas, but indriyas can take the manas away when they are strong, when kama is strong. Or manas can control indriyas to go where it wants when manas is stronger. When kama is only at the level of indriyas. Right? So manas is there. On top of manas sits what? Buddhim to sarathim viddhi. Kathopanishad. Sarathi, charioteer, who is holding the reins, is buddhi. And that's one. Then, what does buddhi do? Nischayatmakam buddhi. That means, buddhi is the one that judges right from wrong, what to do, what not to do, how not to do. All these things is in the realm of buddhi. Right? Buddhi is the charioteer who takes the horses where he wants to go. When he is powerful, horses control him when they are powerful. So that is buddhi. And then on top of buddhi sits what? Ahankara. That's one. What does ahankara do? Ahankara is a sense of self, right? What does ahankara do? You can refer to the notes. That's fine. That's what it creates. So it creates ahankara. Basically, ahankara, what it does, it gives you a sense of self. It gives you identity, right?
self-esteem.
All of those, self-esteem, self-confidence, identity, ego, right? Inflated ego, everything is here. It is a sense of self. It's an identity that it creates, right? And this is the one that keeps everything, all of these, within us. Right? Once you lose ahankara, you lose the whole thing. You remember the discussion last week, right? So it's ahankara that keeps everything together, right? I said, if you want to brainwash somebody, you need to beat the hell out of his ahankara. If he loses his self, he loses his power to discriminate. He loses his power to think. And everything is gone. What was that movie? The trilogy? That was Born Identity, right? That we were talking about, Born Identity. That's how. You beat the hell out of this. And then you can control this. So ahankara is that important. When you have Swabhiman, your thinking cannot be hijacked. When you lose Swabhiman, what happens? Your thinking can be hijacked. That's ahankara. Ahankara is sense of self. It is identity. It's creating of identity. And then on top of it is the final one is what? Chitta. Right? Chitta is what? No, chitta is not vidya. Chitta is memory. More than, when we say memory, we only think about things, right? Experiences. Samskara, right? You say sanskar in Hindi. Samskara. Samskara is what? Experiences that, memory means it's things that you're remembering. But experience means that which has effect on how you are doing things, right? So chitta is not just objects that you just recall. These are things that are, that are influencing things that how you work, how you do, the experiences that shape us, right? It's chitta that shapes ahankara, correct? Right? How do you create your identity? First of all, is identity created or not? Is this the true self or the false self? No. This is false self. This is a created. See, I can say I'm a successful person. I am a very successful person. What does that mean? That means I'm basing that identity on my experience of last 10 things I did. I succeeded. Then I made myself a successful person, right? But the next time I fail, what happens to my identity? So that means ahankara is an identity that the body creates for itself. It's an identity, it's a created identity. This is a false ego. That's why you need to destroy the false ego. This body creates this ego. Oh, I am this kind of a person. I am a good person. I am a bad person. All of those things are based on what? Based on things that I have done. It's a judgment that I have done of the things that I have done that creates this is a label that I give myself. This is this is not true self. True self is Atma. False self is Ahankara. Remember, all these are body, right? This is not I. This is false I. You can change this. If this was true self, how can you break this? You cannot break Ahankara, right? If it's true self. This is false self. This is the self that my experience has created as my identity. Right? It's my experience that has carved the identity that I am. That's how Chitta sits on top. Chitta is all the samskaras that we have gone through. And I said Vidya comes in here, right? Vidya comes here. Vidya comes here. Our education, our surroundings, all, it says, it's all my sanskar. What does all my sanskar means? It means your experiences that your family has given you, your surroundings has given you, and it has carved you. That is your Chitta. Vidya is part of the shaping of Chitta. And through Chitta it shapes your identity. Through identity it shapes everything, your buddhi and everything. How you judge, everything depends on Chitta. Right? So this is the body. Okay, so this is Annamaya Kosha, this is Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha. This is called as Vijnanamaya Kosha. Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta is Vijnanamaya Kosha. And there's another thing called Anandamaya Kosha. That is Atma, Chetana. I said Chetana, right? So the Chetana is Anandamaya. That means Atma, that sits outside the body, and that's apart from the body, that is Chetana. That's Anandamaya Kosha. So these are all the things. This is all body. All of these things are body. That is Chetana, is Atma. Okay? Now the question is, so Krishna says, how do you control desire? He says, okay, this sits on top of this sits on top of this, and something sits on top of, and he sits on top of buddhi. That's all he says. Right? So now we put that's why I was telling last time, it is very important to understand the whole of the Vedanta literature, because in different places all of these things are in very short form. So unless you understand the Brahma Sutras and how it's applied in different places, you cannot get the real import of this. So this is the whole picture. Right? Chetana is there, then Prakriti is there. On top of that is Prakriti. And then Paramatma, Purusha. These are all on top of that. Prakriti is the nature. These are the products of Prakriti. Right? This is like, when you personify it, you call it Jagan Mata, right? The mother of the world. That's the mother. These are her products. This is the one that is imprisoned in Prakriti, and he is the one who is infinitely above everything else. He transcends everything else infinitely above. That's Purusha. Right? So this is the thing. This is what Krishna is talking about here. Then in 43rd, he says how this can be used to control the desire, tamasic and rajasic desire. He says, evam buddheha param buddhva, right? Samstabhya atmanam atmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. Final shloka. And he says, thus evam buddheha param buddhva, understanding that which is above buddhi, samstabhya. What is stab? Control, calm down, right? Stabilize. English stable is also from stab. Same dhatu. Stabilize. Right? Control, bring it to control. What? Atmanam atmana. Oneself, by oneself. Atmanam atmana. Oneself by oneself. Jahi shatrum. Kill this enemy. Mahabaho. One with broad shoulders of great strength. Kamarupam, what is this enemy? Who is in the form of desire. Durasadam, who is very difficult to conquer. Now the point here, the critical point of, you were asking last time, how does this translate into the controlling of desire, is knowing, three important things are here. One is knowing what is beyond buddhi, number one. Then the second one is controlling the two selves. He is talking about two selves. One is Atmanam, the self, the self which is acted on, and Atmana, the self which acts. So there are two selves, and the knowledge beyond buddhi. These 3 points we need to understand. We have two selves. What does that mean, that we have two selves? We already looked at that point earlier, the 99%, 1%.
Self that acts and self that makes you act.
Self that acts and self that makes you act. No, both are same. Both are Prakriti.
So self that acts is you. Self that makes you act is Prakriti.
No. See, I said, in one of earlier classes I said, I'm talking, am I breathing?
Yes.
Am I breathing? Am I breathing?
No, natural.
It is Prakriti which is breathing. Right? 99% of our body is in the control of Prakriti. That means that which is below the awareness, that which is in the awareness. When I am not actually aware of my breathing, not actually breathing, unconscious, right? So what is that? Which domain it falls in? Even though I am breathing, I am not breathing. It is the Prakriti which is breathing. Right? Prakriti is doing all the activities. I am only becoming aware of them. So I said, what is Purushakara? Daiva and Purushakara. Only those activities in which we are willfully desiring, those are the activities that generate karma. Breathing does not generate karma. Why? Blinking the eyes. Am I blinking the eyes? Yes, but it's not me blinking. It's a Prakriti blinking the eyes. It's just part of me. So these are the two selves that we talked about earlier. Right? The self which is Prakriti, which is below my awareness, and my awareness which is me. Right? That my conscious decisions, my conscious desires. That is one self, which is but a 1% of myself. And there's a 99% below that, which is below my awareness, which is Prakriti. So these two are together packaged in this one body, and for all of us. Right? So those are two selves. Krishna is talking about the same thing, but he's talking about two selves in a different way. See, there are two selves. There are two selves here. Can you identify two selves here? See, whenever we say Atma doesn't mean just this one. Atma means a reference point. It's an identity point. Right? My body is my Atma. Until I get the knowledge that I am not my body, the body is still my Atma. Right? That's my first point. Body is my first Atma. Ahankara is my second Atma. When I think all this identity that I have built for myself is really me, that's my Ahankara. When those go, this is the third Atma. And that is Paramatma. Right? So there are so many Atmas. When I say Atma, it doesn't mean this Atma only. Atma can mean Paramatma, Atma can mean Jivatma, Atma can mean body, Atma can be Ahankara. So you need to know the context in which you are speaking about the Atma. Right? So when Krishna is talking about two Atmas, Atmanam and Atmana, that is the Atma that is acted on and the Atma that acts. Can you identify the two Atmas here? He has already given the clue in the first part of the shloka. Evam buddheha param buddhva.
Buddhi and manas.
Buddhi, okay. Is what? Is one. Buddhi, manas, indriya. Is one Atma. Ahankara, chitta is the second Atma. Two selves we have. What does that mean? Okay, you take this here. Just here. You completely ignore this. Okay? In time, where does this live? Past, present, future? Right? This is always in the present. Right? Without access to chitta, you are only here, now. You cannot think. You cannot connect to your memories, you cannot form your imaginations, nothing will happen because you don't have any memory. Right? So, buddhi, manas and indriyas, and of course Deha is always there, is where? Is one Atma which is always in the present. Right? That means what? Whenever you have issues, whatever the problems that we face, which Atma faces it? Right? I call it the hot self and the cold self. This is in the middle of action. When you are getting angry and you want to say something to somebody, and you are doing it in the present, right? You are facing problems in the past or future or present. So these are the guys who are actually like the soldiers in the battlefield. These are the ones who fight and wage the daily battles. They are the ones who need to win. Right? This is the lower self, or the hot self. That means they are in the middle of action. Right? Buddhi, manas, whatever Gita you might know, whatever scriptures, Upanishad, everything you know, when the real situation happens and you cannot act accordingly, what happens? That means your hot self is not under the influence of what you know. This is not percolated down. Right? These are the guys who are every day fighting situations. These are the ones that are going to grocery store and want to buy the chocolate. Right? It's not Chitta that's buying the chocolate. Who is buying the chocolate? It's the Indriya that shows you where it is, how it tastes. And then it's the Manas that's taking you there. It's the Buddhi that's saying it's fine, this time it's fine, we can do it. These are in the middle of the battle. These are the guys who are fighting, waging every day battle. Right? So this is the hot self. Hot self this is something the name I have given. Hot self is that which is in the middle of things, facing all these challenges of everyday life. This is, right? So buddheha param, he says. He's talking about that which is beyond buddhi. That means, he's assuming this is the one that really needs to win. Who needs to win for us to win? We can sit here and discuss Bhagavad Gita for years, for decades. If it doesn't win the battle here, nothing has happened. Gita is useless. Gita is useful only if it helps this guy win the battle. Not this guy become very, very scholarly and able to quote the verses from Gita. That's not it. The real battle is here. If you win the battle with the use of Gita, here, that is sadhana. That is called sadhana, means helping buddhi, manas and indriyas win everyday battle with the help of the higher cold self. Why I call this cold self is now, indriyas are not taking us anywhere. I hope. Right? You're not imagining, right? It's like, oh, after this class gets over, I want to get there and do this, Right? So indriyas, so you're cold, you're relaxed, you're calm, right? That's the cold self. That's when you can think, you can decide, you can strategize and all of those things, plan. That is here. That's chitta. That carves the identity. Right? So this needs to control this. So Krishna says, buddheha param buddhva. That means that when you know that which is beyond buddhi, then samstabhya atmanam atmana. When you can control this self from this self, then you have won the battle.
Can you repeat that again, Sunil? Can you repeat that?
The sloka?
No, you're just meant the sentence that you just said.
No. So when he says, buddheha param buddhva, understanding that which is beyond buddhi, that the higher self, and then samstabhya atmanam atmana, when you control yourself, your lower self with your higher self, that's when you can win that battle against the enemy, which is in the form of desire. That means what? That means when you are cool and calm, make strategies so that your hot self can win. When it is in the heart, you can never win when you try to, say, I'm angry, but when I am angry, I'll think about the Gita class and I'll think about what we discussed. Never going to happen. Never going to happen, right? Because when you get angry, everything is shut down. Right? You have no access to any of this, right? Buddhi nashat pranashyati. Krishna was talking about anger when he says buddhi nashat pranashyati. That means buddhi shuts down. What to do, what not to do, that discrimination power is gone. All you need to do is just say something, right? So at that time, you have no access to any of these things. You have access to all of those things in times like this. When you are cool and calm, you can say, okay, next time I get angry, maybe for 1 minute I'll keep quiet. Even then, if I am angry, then I will yell at everybody. Right? That is a heuristic, something that you can do. Right? If you think I can, let me think about Gita class, what Krishna said, that's it. You are going to shut down. Right? That's not going to happen. Right? So, when the hot self is hot, this is shut down. Right? So, you need to keep things, the cold self needs to structure, needs to create things so that when the hot self is there, it knows what to do, where to go, how to do it. That's it. You cannot ask a lot of thinking from the cold hot self. If you just tell it, okay, when you're in this situation, you're going to go into that situation, do this and this. That's it.
Yeah, but buddhi needs to be able to discriminate that information and control it.
You can just blindly go with the heuristic. That's it.
You have to condition it.
Exactly. That is the point. Conditioning, right? The condition the hot self with the cold self. Cold self knows what to do. And people do this. How do they do this? This is being done. No, not there. What is marketing?
Yeah.
What is But it is the hot self, the cold self in the service of hot self. Right? It says, how does a person decide what to buy? All the research is going on where? In the cold self. And how they place the products, what they do, how they create the desires in you, is all here. This is where planning is. And when you go into the store, this is what goes. Right?
All
So,
your comparison for products is done at the chitta level, education level, and then you make decisions about purchase that product.
exactly, right? So you can say, this is what I'm going to buy. I will not look at anything. If you make that heuristic and just go do it, then your heart self knows, come what may. I don't need to decide in the heat of the moment what to do. It's all written down. It's all there. And then you just go blindly, you go like a horse. Right? And then do it. So, this is what Krishna is saying. The heart self, your lower self, will never be able to think and act coolly. It's not possible.
Yeah, but Sunil, what you're implying is some degree of pre-planning. Okay, and the problem with life is that the variables are thrown at you left and right that force you to compromise.
No. See, the particulars might change. General doesn't change. What kind of situations that you encounter might change, but that you are going to encounter situations that are, one category and another category is there, right?
Yeah,
it's common.
Yeah, for example, like you said in the grocery example, you know that the candy that you like is in aisle 8, and you say, I'm not going to go in aisle 8, but guess what? Management changes the location of those candies. There's my chocolate.
Now you're wiser for the next time, right?
You're going to pick that up anyway.
You'll say, no, from now on I don't go to this store, I'll go to that store, right? So, see, that is the lower self and the higher self. Krishna is saying, when you know the higher self, then you can conquer the lower self. See, last time I was saying, top heavy and bottom heavy, right? These are the things where the desire enters. It enters indriyas, it enters manas, it enters buddhi. Right? This is when it is entered here, it's bottom heavy. That means these become powerless. These are very powerful. But when this is more powerful than ahankara, more powerful, when the control is from top down, then you are in control of things. When control is bottom up, then the situation is in control of you. Two different things. So when the control is from the indriyas controlling the manas, that means power of manas is gone, manas controls buddhi power is gone, then your chitta, everything is gone because buddhi nasha pranashati. It's gone.
I mean, this was an example of where candy is kept. I mean, you have to go, think about a higher level. So let's say imagine like, okay, candy is slow poison. If you get it instilled in your brain,
that is...
Yeah, in that level,
correct.
Then doesn't matter which aisle they
Correct. Exactly.
Change.
So that's the process of step by step. First one you're thinking about, candy is in that level, not go there. That's first step. But that's not sadhana. You do not get Brahma Jnana by that, right? Next step is like what he's saying. Hey, what is that? What is this? What takes the interest in my life? Are these things really worth thinking about? And all of those things. Vidya, as you grow, it becomes what? Sankhya. Sankhya is what? Deha and Atma. Atma Vidya. When it becomes Atma Vidya, Paramatma Vidya, no longer, none of these hold interest. Right? Desire is created because they hold interest. Right? Why does a child outgrow a toy? Because it's no longer interesting. So if your interest is not invested there, then as it grows higher, even if it is in front of you, it no longer matters. Right? That is outgrowing the desire. It's neither suppressing nor indulging. It's outgrowing the desire. That's what Krishna is saying. You can outgrow it only this way. When your cold self, when chitta and ahankara are so powerful that they create things so that the lower self knows what to do, how to do, when to do it. They know the heuristics. That is basically what sadhana is. See, asana, pranayama, all of those things are what? This one creating structures for, one is for the body, one is for pranamaya kosha, one is for manas, and all of those things. You're exercising it, you're making it more powerful in the calm of the mind, so that in the heat of the moment, these can act the way it needs to act. What matters is the heat of the moment, not in the calm of the moment. Right? It's the heat of the moment, you need to win the battle. These guys need to win. If they don't win, you have never won the battle. That's it. So Krishna says, that's why, see, he's Atmanam Atmana, he says. Winning oneself with oneself, or calming oneself with oneself. Two selves. One that is calmed, this one. One that calms, this one. Right? So these are two of them. One calming, the other Jahishatrum Mahavaho Kamarupam Durasanam. Hey, with that strategy, make sure your lower self is in control, and then kill that enemy who is in the form of desire, who is very hard to conquer. So, how do you control the desires? Not in one day. I mean, it's a sadhana, right? It's over the years. But the path is what Krishna is saying. This is the process. This is how it needs to be done. There is no quick fix. It is a process. This needs to get stronger than this. This needs to get stronger than this. This needs to get stronger than this. This needs to plan for the heat of the moment. Make sure these know what to do in what situation. That is all sanskaras. Right? Gita class is what? It's a sanskara, right? It's trying to create. So all of those things, what your grandmother said, what your grandfather said, what your parents said, all of those heuristics that they told you, what the culture says, it's all here. It is all to guide your buddhi, manas and indriyas. Right?
That's a tradition, isn't it?
That's the tradition, right? That's the tradition of passing on the wisdom of how to get your higher self to control the lower self. So, when it's done that way, when the control is top down, that is when you can kill the desire, which is our enemy in the form of desire. That is our real enemy. Kamarupam Durasanam.
Where is Hata comes there? Hata.
No, Hata is here. No, Hata is our nature. Right? Jiva Swabhava is Hata. Here. Purushakara also comes here. But Purushakara is using this. Everything else, Daiva is all Prakriti. See, the actions that we do is one, things that are below our awareness, then things which are in our awareness, and things which is in our Swabhava. Three things cause actions. Daiva, Purushakara and Hata. This Hata is the Jiva Swabhava. Purushakara is the one that is creating karma. Right?
So it means Buddhi and Manas are part of Purushakara?
No, Buddhi and Manas are the faculty that is in the middle. Samskaras. No, Purushakara is all driven by samskaras. Everything is driven by samskaras. How we use it.
Right? It all belongs to Purushakara.
It all belongs to Purushakara. Daiva is the whole thing. It's all Prakriti. Hata is only here.
Only the Chetana.
Chetana level.
That we don't know.
No, Hata is what is enduring, what never changes. Right? And our nature, Swabhava. Not our Ankara. Ankara can change. Hata can never change. That's why it's called Hata. That means it will never change. This is what we are in the Jiva. This is our false ego. This is our true ego.
So habits come under Hata or come under...
No, habits doesn't come. Habits, everything is here. Habit is sanskara, right? It's chitta.
And bhakti is more influencing the whole self.
Exactly. Bhakti comes when it's vidya, when you're looking at Chetana first, and then you look at Paramatma. Everything here, you lose interest.
You ignore.
Basically, it doesn't mean anything. You don't even see. Ignore means you're like I do. It's neither suppression nor indulgence. It is indifference. Basically, right? So when you are at this level, you're indifference to anything. It doesn't matter. I'm going this way or that way. It doesn't matter. So that you have to grow to that level where it's indifferent. But it's a process. It's a stage, step by step.
So So the hatha can change the whole dynamics.
Hatha will tell you, in the long run, if you put a graph, 1 million lives, I mean, I'm just making up the number, but finally where you will come down to, it will show you.
Yeah, but are we saying that some folks will simply not change ever? Means if hatha is your persistence of behavior or persistence of swabhav, some people may have very negative tendencies.
Yes.
They may have very positive tendencies built into their swabhav.
Correct.
So
See, there are two things, right? I said swabhava, prabhava, right? Some people are good because of the prabhava, the surrounding influence. But once that goes away, they come down to the level of hatha, what is there. Some are bad because of prabhava. And when that bad influence goes away, they come back to good. So that's prabhava. Swabhava is what they come back to, which will endure, which is hatha.
It all depends on his, deva, right? Deva is the one.
Deva, this is beyond Deva, right? Deva is all what kind of karma I have done and what kind of fruits they are going to bear in my life, right? That is Deva.
It's not going to act towards, within the hatha. It's going to be apart from hatha.
It is going to be three forces together. Hatha is always there.
Okay.
Deva is always there. Deva are things that we don't control, right? The parents I'm born to, the situation in which I am, the friends I'm going to meet, we don't control. Things happen to us, right? That is Deva. What I can do, Purushakara. What will endure in things that I do? Sometimes I can do something, but I lose interest. And then I revert back to something else. That is hatha.
So then why do we have our hatha? Why does each one have their innate?
But that is what you are. That is you.
But what's the origin or source for that? I mean, why is
That is called I. That is the I. It's like, why is mango tree? Because it came from mango seed. Why is mango seed? Because it is mango seed. There is no answer there. It is because it is that.
So
that's the identity.
You've got two battle streams. You've got a Hitler-like personality and you've got a Buddha-like personality. So are they doomed to basically follow their innate nature till the end of time?
If you can figure out whether it's a swabhava or prabhava, then you can. But nobody can, right? Only Brahma can know.
Depends on where your environment is circumcised.
See, if you had seen Hiranyakashipu, you would have said, "Oh, look at that guy."
Yeah.
But finally, what happened? He goes and reverts back to his hatha, which is Jaya Vijaya, right? Vishnu, in the Vishnu Loka. So, you don't know, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyakshi, all, Shishupala, they were good. But the Prabhava caused bad, and then they reverted back to their good selves. Valmiki, another example.
So we practice all that stuff there, and then to become indifferent to rajasic and tamasic desires.
Right.
So there might be some danger of even becoming indifferent to sattvic
No.
desires. How can you, your mind doesn't.
See, if you are indifferent to sattvic,
very bhakti oriented, can you become indifferent to your sattvic desires too?
no. If you are indifferent to sattvic desires, you are going into tamasic. Right? What is tamasic? Indifference to sattvic, basically, right? So, if you are desire to do good to someone is sattvic, and I'm not interested to do good to someone, that becomes tamasic. Right? That's a good desire to have. Desire to learn, good desire to have. I'm indifferent to that desire, means you're tamasic.
Excess and desire.
Excess and deficiency.
Desire towards children or
Correct.
Yes.
Putra, that becomes moha, right? Putra moha. So excess and deficiency is problem. Moderation is balance. That's what this whole thing is, right? Tamas and rajas. Right? So, Jahi Shatrum Mahabaho Kama Rupam Durasadam. There ends the third chapter. And basically what Krishna is saying is, this is a process in which your higher self that should learn, you should have good samskaras. What Gita is teaching, these are the things that you will get moha in, but they'll go away. All the things that we have learned is for the chitta to know, so that it can shape the behavior of your buddhi and manas when the situation comes. Right? That is what manana is, process of reflecting. Manana is now what? Not heat of the moment. Manana is calm repetition, reflecting on calmly. Didhyasa is when that becomes a second habit. It becomes your second nature. It becomes a habit. And it becomes part of you. Making these things part of you is finally what is required. So that's the third chapter of Gita. Now, I was saying, I think we have about 15 minutes. Let me see how, maybe we can finish a little bit. This is the same template for creation. See, in Hindu Dharma, we were talking about 3 domains, right? Tapatraya. How many of you know what Tapatraya means? What is Tapatraya? In Kannada, Tapatraya, right? Yeah.
One, the problem that caused by yourself, people around you, and time.
Nature, yeah. So, problem, Tapatraya in Kannada, it means problems, right? My problems are Tapatraya. But in Sanskrit, Tapatraya means 3 tapas, 3 heats. That is, that's causing me trouble. The trouble comes in 3 domains. Adhyatmika, Adhidaivika, Adhibhautika. That means Adhyatmika means this, what we were talking about this. My body, my mind. That is the domain of Adhyatma, the domain of me. That means diseases trouble us. That's Adhyatmic domain. Mental issues trouble us. That's Adhyatmic domain. All of those things that trouble us, which is within our body and mind, becomes Adhyatmika Tapa. Right? What else can you be troubled by?
Nature.
That is Adhidaivika Tapa. That means nature, hurricane trouble us. Right? Things in the nature that trouble us. Then what else can trouble us? Society. Right? Our friends and enemies tormenting. Right? That's a torment that we get from society. That's another trouble. So, if you look at all your troubles, it is in 3 domains. Either you're worrying about your health issues, your mental issues, or how people are treating you, and all of those things are natural. They call it acts of God, right? Those acts of God. You deal with acts of God, right? So these are the 3 domains in which your trouble can be. Right? That's what Tapatraya means. Your troubles are in 3 domains. It's in your physical body domain, in your society domain, in the nature domain. It can be in 3, right? So we are talking about this one. This is the Adhyatmika domain. This is the body domain, right? Now, in Vedanta, there is a concept called... Oh, this one. Okay. So in Vedanta...
Question is next speaker.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
See, in Vedanta, there's something called as microscopic equivalence. And that means there's a dictum, it says, Yatha Brahmande Tata Pindande, Yatha Pindande Tata Brahmande. What is true in Pindanda, that means in the human fetus, is true in the universe. That means the universe and human, they are a reflection of each other. That means you can look at a human and tell about the universe. And you can look at the universe, which you cannot do it. So it means you can look at the small and tell about the big. And I did not realize until very recently, when I was reading a book on, using simple rules to generate patterns, this is actually what is called as fractals. Right? Nature is full of fractals. If you look at the leaf, it will be in the shape of the tree. Right? The small is in the shape of the big. The big is in the shape of even bigger. So you only look at the small, you'll know about the big. So that's one small is in the image of the big. That's within the domain. It's also true about across domains. The universe is in the shape of man. Man is in the shape of the universe. Universe is in the shape of society. Society in the shape of man. So all of these things are reflection of each other. So now we have Adhyatma domain. Right? This is man. Now, universe is exactly the same. Creation happens exactly this way. Okay? So let's look at just the Adhidaiva domain. Put this here. So this is Adhyatma domain. This is Adhidaiva domain. Right? So creation happens in 2 stages. First stage is called Prakrita Srishti. Second stage is called Vikrita Srishti. That means creation of the universe, Prakrita Srishti, creation of life, Vikrita Srishti, 2. So we'll have Prakrita Srishti here, 6 stages, Vikrita Srishti, 3 stages. Totally 9 creation happens in 9 stages. Right? And Prakriti is there. Right? So she is here, Prakriti is here. The same Prakriti that created the body is also the Prakriti who is the creator of the universe. Right? It's the same here. She is a substance from which the universe comes. Here it's only an individual, here it's the whole universe. Right? So, this is the Prakriti. That means, at the Pralaya, this is called Maha Pralaya, when nothing exists except Purusha. Nothing exists. In the sense that everything is in suspended animation. It is, if you connect it to Pindanda, it is what? Deep sleep state. The whole of creation is in deep sleep state. Nothing moves, there is no activity. There is only Paramatma. Right? That is something called as Mahapralaya. That's a Mahapralaya. So this is a cycle. So one thing in a Mahapralaya, then Mahasrishti, then cycles within Srishti, then Mahapralaya. Right? So we're taking one cycle. This has no beginning, no end. It's a cycle. Right? So we are taking one cycle. Right? This is Mahapralaya, where it was suspended animation. Everything was in deep sleep state, suspended animation. Only Paramatma was there. Right? Then the first Srishti happens. Prakriti is the one who is the substance. Now you are thinking, see, universe is not created until the stage 6, 6th stage. So don't think in terms of universe. This is all before universe is happening, right? All those 5 stages happen, then universe is created, and then life is created. So first 5 stages. 6th stage is creation of universe. So first 5 stages. First creation is what? See, first creation is in the Adidaiva domain is the what? Who does Lakshmi create? First. What? How many of you do Lakshmi Puja here? Come on, yeah. Everybody does it. Who is first progeny of Lakshmi?
Shakti.
No. See, Prakriti means these 3 gunas, right? These 3 gunas are physical things. Right? It's very subtle but physical things. They are Adidevas. Adidevas means everything is controlled by a conscious entity that is behind it. Agni Deva is a divinity behind the physical phenomenon of Agni. That is physical. Agni is different from Agni Deva, but they are connected. Whatever Agni is the power behind Agni. Devata is power behind Agni Tattva. Right? Now here, Sattva, Guna, behind that is Lakshmi. Rajo Guna, behind, or we call it Shri. Shri Bhudevi, Shri Devi, Durga Devi. Tamo Guna, behind that is Durga Devi. This is the stuff from which universe. This is the same as this. Prakriti is Trigunamayi. She is 3 forms. Shri Bhu Durga. Right? And then those 3 forms become imbalanced and Rajas comes first. Right? We only know Shri Bhu Durga. There's 3 forms of Lakshmi. Shri, Bhu, Durga. These are the 3 forms of Lakshmi. That is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. First creation happens when Sattva goes out of balance and creation, that means you are in deep sleep, suddenly you wake up. That is waking of the universe. From Pralaya to first creation. This is first creation. Nothing exists. That means they are all in deep sleep, suspended animation state. first creation is what? Creation of? Where there is no awareness until, see, a deity needs to come that rules awareness. When the deity comes, then awareness starts. Right? What is the deity? First deity.
Ganesha.
Vishnu is here. I mean, Vishnu is in the Purusha. He is always there in Prolaya. No. Brahma. Come on, Brahma. Brahma is the first creation. Right? Brahmadeva is the first creation. When Brahmadeva comes, with him, the body of the Brahmadeva is called Mahat. This is Mahat Srishti. First creation. That means, when Brahmadeva is alive, Tasmad Virala Jayata Virajo Adi Purusha Sukta. That means, Mahat Tattva, which is the egg of the universe, which is not even physical universe yet. It is the egg of all creation, which is in the unexpressed state, is formed, and the first man is created. And who is that first man? Not Adam. We are talking about even before universe is created. And that is Brahma.
If Vishnu created Brahma, then how is the relation of these three Devi, Bhudevi and Durga to
Lakshmi. Vishnu Lakshmi.
But you related it to the Gunas, right?
Correct. Three forms of Lakshmi.
So did the Gunas get created before Brahma? Then
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. These are all before Brahma. Yeah. The Gunas, see, when they go out of balance, Rajas forms Mahat Tattva, which is the body of Brahma, first Brahma. That is, the egg of the universe is the body of Brahma. So when he wakes up, all of Jivas open the eyes. Right? That is called Mahat Srishti. This is the first Srishti. There are Srishti in every yuga. That's a different Srishti. But we'll go through the first one. When from Mahapralaya, when nothing was there, something gets created. That we are doing. Okay? That's Maha Srishti. Then, what is the next one? That is equal to this in our body is what? Chitta. The sum total of all our memories. Right? The samskaras. That is Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva in the universe is Chitta in man. Right? So that is Mahat Tattva is. What is the next one then? No. Yeah, but what is the next system? What is next in line here? You look at this. We are looking at man and talking about universe. Ahankara. So the second one is called Ahankara Srishti. This is Ahankara. This is Maha Srishti. Ahankara Srishti means from this one opening the eyes. Now the power. What is the power of Ahankara? Differentiation, right? Us versus them. Things differentiate, right? So this is the one that starts the process of differentiation of undifferentiated whole, which is Mahat Tattva. So this is called Ahankara Srishti. And with Ahankara Srishti comes what? Who's Ahankara Abhimani? One of the Ahankara Abhimanis. Shiva, Rudra. Right? That's the second Srishti. I mean, between this, things have happened, but the second major Srishti is the Srishti of Rudra. And also is related. Here it's Brahma, Prana, both come here. Then Saraswati, Bharati come. Then Garuda and Shesha, Rudra, all of these come. So they are all the keepers of Ahankara. Because when they are alive, or when they are there, your awareness of I comes. Right? So when this is created, in the body, Ahankara gives you an identity of self. I am. Oh, I am somebody different from everybody else. That awareness comes when the Ahankara Srishti happens. In universe, the whole undifferentiated thing now starts differentiating into different stuff. Right? The power to differentiate has been invested. That's Ahankara. That's the second Srishti. Right? Third Srishti. It's called Bhuta Srishti. Okay, so I need to use this one. So Ahankara is what? The power to differentiate, right? So this power to differentiate is invested with what? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. The tamasic part of differentiation of Ahankara becomes Pancha Bhuta and Pancha Tanmatra. Right? So these are the Pancha Bhutas and Pancha Tanmatras. That is the Bhuta Srishti. So that's the Bhuta. The Bhuta Srishti is these, the Pancha Bhutas. These are again Pancha Bhutas that we talked about here. These Pancha Bhutas, they are not physical manifestations, but they are just the deities that rule the Pancha Bhutas are manifested. Okay, so that Pancha Bhutas, Pancha Tanmatras, that's the Tamas. This is the Tamas. Next is what? Called Aindriya Srishti. Or also called as Deva Srishti. The Devas are born. That means the Indriyas here. The Indriyas, not Indriyas in the body, but Indriyas of the universe are the Devatas. Agni, Vayu, Varuna, all of those deities. And the potency for Indriyas, knowledge, knowing, is created here. This is the Rajas. Right? And Sattva is what? Manas Srishti. This is the Manas. Okay. So all of these are precursors of the physical manifestation. So before the universe itself physically expressed, there was 5 creations that happened. 5 creations that happened, which led to the 6th one, which is called as Tamas Srishti. First one is Tamas Srishti. Tamas Srishti means from the energy of Tamas, which is inactivity, physical universe emanated. First, this is when you can call Big Bang. This is the Big Bang moment. Before Big Bang moment, 5 things were created. This is when the physical universe manifested itself. Right? This is Manasrishti. So the universe is there. Then, what is the 7th Srishti? I said, this is Prakrita Srishti. Vikrita Srishti is creation of life. What is this? 7th one? Urdhva Srota Srishti. That means creation of beings which have their alimentary canal upside down. Yeah, upside down. That means they eat in the bottom, excrete in the top. Plants. Right? Urdhva Srota Srishti. Srotas means pipe. Right? Urdhva Srotas means the pipe that goes up. Because you eat at the bottom and excrete at the top. So Urdhva Srotas Srishti. Okay, I'll just say US Srishti. Urdhva Srotas Srishti. Right? You have to do it very quickly, I think. Okay? And then next creation is Tiryak Srotas Srishti. That means alimentary canal which goes side by side, from one side to another. Creation of animals. Right? All the animals. Right? Tiryak Srotas Srishti. And 9th one is Arvak Srotas Srishti. That means alimentary canal where you eat in the top and excrete in the bottom. That is creation of man. So the creation happens in 9 stages, and the final creation is the creation of man. Right? Universe comes in the 6th stage. Before that, first 5 stages are the things that are necessary for the universe to emanate. And the deities the deities who rule the universe, all of the substances that are used by the universe, all the gunas, everything are created, and then there is a physical manifestation in Tamas Srishti. And then finally, after Srishti, first creation of life is what? Urdhva Srodhas, plants are created. Then Tiryak Srodhas, animals are created. And finally, Arvak Srodhas, man is created.
This theory is consistent with Darwin's theory, unlike the other theories. It's needed all at once.
Yeah. So, is consistent with what theory? Darwin's theory. Yeah. So this is how. So this is the primary creation, right? This is how the first creation happens, right? Mahasrishti. Then there are kalpas, right? Brahma. So after this, 3.11 trillion years is the cycle, right? These things, like between Dwapara and Kali Yuga, nothing happened, right? There's a major event, but man survived, everybody survived. So in Kalpa Pralaya, what happens? These get destroyed. Then they form again. There is this cycle, there is a bigger cycle where these are destroyed, and this is destroyed only in the end. Right? So, and the destruction is opposite of how it was expressed. That means man will go away first, animals will go away next, plants will go away, universe will be exterminated, and then each one will, and finally there will be Brahma, and then even Brahma will die. And then there is Mahapralaya. So that is the whole cycle. So it is expressed in a certain way. Reverse order is the Pralaya. Srishti is one direction, Pralaya is another direction. So we ran out of time. There's so many other things to discuss in this. We'll do that when we come to the 4th chapter. So here ends the 3rd chapter. Hopefully, we all gained, Okay. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum Om